top notch, and I hope you've been enjoying our productions. Previously, I presented the summary of Act 2, Scene 1, and today I want to say something about Scene 2. So, Scene 2 takes place in the boardroom at Sagrada Secondary School, and we see in the boardroom is Madam Narine, that is Madam Principal. This is after she had called and summoned Madam Nicole to see her there. So when Nicole arrives, we see she informs her that the mayor is on his way, and he had requested to see and talk to her about the Samaritan app. And then we also see the Madam Principal expresses her fears and warns Madam Nicole of the dangers that may come upon with the Samaritan app. And then through this warning, however much Nicole says there's nothing wrong with the app, Madam Principal warns her and distances herself from any inconvenience that may be caused by the app. And then we see, as they still talk about that, the door is knocked, and we see the mayor is ushered in by the secretary. So when the mayor comes, actually he goes straight to his business and asks the two mistresses about what he had commanded them to do. That was after the failed launching. So he had requested them to write to those who are handling the app, maybe to stop it or do some kind of makeups there. So the principal informs the mayor that everything had been taken up by the Ministry of Education, and they had no control over it. And then you see the mayor is shocked and asks why everything is happening behind him. And that is where we see a very, very neglectful mayor. And when the principal tells him that, immediately they did a follow-up with the Minister of Education, and she did a letter to his office. And you see a whole mayor saying that maybe the letter is just lying there, and maybe I had not seen it. And you see, this is something very, 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 very important. So when Nicole Madam Principal requests to leave them because the matter was concerning the two, and she never wanted to be part of it, and immediately she goes away, we see the mayor trying to iron things so that he could get the good side of Madam Nicole. And this is by maybe apologizing for not doing the launch and even being hard on her. And then we see, after everything is okay, he informs Madam Nicole that he can offer something. He says that money is everything. She knows money is everything, and everybody loves money. So he asks Madam Nicole to quote any amount that she would need so that the development of the app is derailed. So we see Nicole is a very firm and very composed teacher. She says she had nothing to do with money, and everything to do with the app is not within her custody. So she says that she can never take any money, and she even threatens to add the information about the bribery on the app. And this, you see, makes the mayor really sweat. So we see the mayor changes the story and says that she only wanted to support the development of the app with the money and whatever. And then we see when Nicole says that I cannot do anything and let everything go that way, we now see the real kind of person the mayor is. And I think this scene is a very funny one, when we see the real mayor actually is so hypocritical, is an escapist. I don't know, we can say all sorts of bad things about this mayor. Imagine he's the leader, and what does he say about his people? So he tries. Actually, he's making two wrongs, thinking that he could get the right thing. Instead of owning up his ills, he goes blaming and even insulting other leaders. Maybe we just look at a few. He begins with his deputy, that is Ramadai, and he says all sorts of things about him. At first, maybe this is a guy who goes inflating the cost of projects in the society, and then he presides over very shoddy municipal works. We see at one time he was tendered. He took a contract of a road construction, and it was so poorly done that you could think it is a playground. And you see, he's the mayor, and this is his deputy. So he says all this. He even goes into that person's family and says all sorts of things. He says that the guy had a family, and the family had so many problems, which is very wrong, getting into people's family. He says that almost every project in that department where Ramdai heads, he says, maybe I just read from the book. He says, take my deputy, Honorable Ramdai. His family is doing almost all municipal council projects that fall under his department. And he begins it from his wife, his daughters, sons, cousins, in-laws, outlaws. I don't know who the outlaws are. And then he says, I even think that his great-grandfather also takes projects from the municipal council. That is so bad for a mayor. And then he moves to, that is Ramdai, who is his deputy. So he blames him for a lot of things. He even says he cons people over title deeds. And he says you could see him hang on poles or leaning on poles looking for people to bribe. And then he moves on to Ted, who is the secretary for Department of Health and Environment. And he says this guy is another bad one, and he doesn't perform well. He blames him for misappropriation of funds, and brings out a great exaggeration. He says that this guy at one point ate a whole hospital. Look at that. That is very funny. And you see, he's the mayor, and this person is working under him. And then he goes into that person's personal life, and even to the family life. He says that this guy didn't go to school, and he thinks he must have left school in the first year of his kindergarten. Look at that. And so you see, this is a guy who works with him in the chambers. And then he says also, and then he says the man, before becoming the secretary in the department, was once a DJ. A DJ who was ever in the liquor houses. He was ever drinking. And you see, he says even the man stinks in the chambers. And you may think that he lives in a drum of what? A drum of brewery. That is a person working under him. And then he touches on a Sema, whom he also blames of bravery. That for you to get a building plan, you must give him something. He says this guy is abused of murder cases. He moves to his family and says that however, he doesn't give a job to his family members, but the children are not there. There are some, the first son is in the rehab, and they are all addicts. You see such a guy. And then he touches on Jaden. Jaden, he really dismantles Jaden and says that is a guy. He is the worst in the Department of Justice in the municipality. He says, one, this guy is not married. He uses the word the man had granted the wife a runaway, but today he had countless mistresses. And then he says he hawks justice like cabbage, surely. So this is a mayor. And then what about him? He really makes his name look so good. He says, he tells Nicole that I know we are not all bad. There are some good people. Or for example, myself. Look at that. That is to being proud for no reason. For example, myself. And then he gives, my wife is a pastor. And I don't give jobs to my family members. In fact, all of my children are abroad. So it's these people